From the outside, the marriage of Eleanor and Franklin D. Roosevelt appeared as a hallmark of upper-class unity, a powerful political couple bonded by legacy, family, and public duty. But behind the pristine walls of the Roosevelt estate, a storm of secrets brewed. In the spring of 1918, Eleanor's world cracked open when she discovered a bundle of love letters while unpacking her husband's travel bags. Letters not written to her, but to her own social secretary, the elegant and warm-hearted Lucy Mercer. Franklin had fallen deeply for Lucy during Eleanor's frequent absences and growing independence. The betrayal devastated Eleanor, shaking her to the core. She offered him a divorce, unwilling to live a lie. But Franklin's domineering mother, Sarah Roosevelt, saw scandal looming and threatened to disinherit him. FDR chose political ambition and family wealth over his heart, or so it seemed. Though he promised to end the affair, the emotional connection with Lucy never truly died. They would exchange letters for years, and in a final twist of fate, Lucy was quietly present at his side the day he died in 1945, while Eleanor was far away, unaware of the final company he had chosen. Whispers also swirled around FDR's trusted secretary, Marguerite Missy LeHand, whose constant presence and intimate bond with Franklin fed rumors of another hidden affair, a companion who offered him emotional solace and perhaps more behind the closed doors of the White House. While Franklin carried on his discreet affairs, Eleanor too was undergoing a personal revolution, one that would change the public's perception of womanhood, partnership, and love. Stripped of romantic trust in her husband, she began forging her own identity, immersing herself in activism, writing, and forming profound emotional relationships, especially with women. Most striking was her connection with Lorena Hickok, a bold and witty Associated Press reporter who was assigned to cover Eleanor, and ended up falling for her. Their bond quickly moved beyond friendship. Letters between the two, now preserved in archives, paint a picture of intimate affection, longing, and love. "I want to put my arms around you and kiss you at the corner of your mouth," Eleanor once wrote, words not born from mere friendship. Hickok gave up her reporting position, and the two lived together for periods of time in the White House, often taking trips, writing daily, and exchanging emotional confessions. Eleanor also had intimate ties with progressive women like Nancy Cook and Marion Dickerman, with whom she shared a cottage called Val Kill, a sanctuary for female camaraderie and possibly deeper connections. Her growing circle of empowered, outspoken women was both admired and scorned by traditionalists. In the backdrop of it all, Eleanor and Franklin maintained a mutual understanding, an unspoken agreement that their marriage was now less about romance and more about power, purpose, and shared legacy. While their hearts may have wandered, they remained till the end the ultimate political allies, both guarding secrets that history would only begin to uncover decades later. As Franklin ascended to the presidency in 1933, the Roosevelts' marriage had long transformed from a romantic union into an intricate arrangement, a political partnership cloaked in marital normalcy. Eleanor, now First Lady, did not play the traditional role of hostess and arm candy. Instead, she forged her own revolutionary path, giving press conferences, writing newspaper columns, and advocating for human rights and social reform. But in the shadows of the White House, the old wounds and emotional voids persisted. Franklin, surrounded by women who nurtured his emotional needs, leaned heavily on Missy LeHand, his loyal secretary and near-constant companion. She was more than an assistant. She was the woman who shared his most intimate thoughts, traveled with him, and even had her own quarters in the White House. Their closeness was so evident that Washington insiders dubbed her the de facto First Lady. Rumors of an affair persisted, but the Roosevelts remained tight-lipped. Missy's sudden stroke in 1941 devastated FDR, and some say it marked the end of his last meaningful emotional bond. Yet another twist came during World War II, when Franklin quietly resumed contact with Lucy Mercer Rutherford. Under the guise of secrecy, Lucy visited him several times, escorted by a network of aides sworn to silence. Even his daughter, Anna Roosevelt, helped arrange these clandestine meetings. Their reunion came full circle when Lucy was sitting with Franklin as he died of a cerebral hemorrhage. A poetic and Eleanor, meanwhile, was blossoming in ways no one expected of a First Lady. Freed from romantic expectations, she became an icon of independence, traveling the world, speaking out against injustice, and surrounding herself with passionate, like-minded women. Her relationship with Lorena Hickok deepened over the years, transcending labels. They shared holidays, gifts, and thousands of letters, many of which Eleanor asked Hick to burn, though over 3,500 survived. The letters paint a portrait of longing. Eleanor would write about Hick's smell, her touch, and the ache she felt when separated. These weren't casual affections, they were declarations of desire, whispered in ink. "I miss you terribly, and I am getting blue as I can be," Eleanor wrote. "I wish I could lie down beside you tonight and take you in my arms." While their romantic connection may have softened with time, their emotional intimacy remained a constant. Eleanor's relationships with Marion Dickerman and Nancy Cook were also the subject of speculation, as the three shared a retreat at Valkill, where Eleanor felt most at peace. That haven became a symbol of her new life, one filled with activism, feminine solidarity, and emotional depth. By the time Franklin died, Eleanor had already become a force of her own. She refused to attend the carefully staged funeral beside Lucy Mercer, a final, silent protest to a lifetime of betrayals. In the years that followed, Eleanor would become a global voice for justice and women's empowerment, never remarrying and never denying her bonds with the women who had sustained her. Her life, like Franklin's, was stitched with secrets, but hers told a story of transformation, resilience, and quiet rebellion. The Roosevelt marriage, at its core, was a strategic alliance, forged not just by love or legacy, but by mutual necessity. Eleanor and Franklin knew they had entered a world where the cost of power was personal freedom, and both quietly accepted this truth. Franklin's political charm masked his deep need for emotional intimacy, which he sought outside the walls of their official residence. Women like Missy LeHand, Lucy Mercer, and even his daughter Anna, who became his secret accomplice in reuniting with Lucy, filled emotional voids that Eleanor no longer could or wanted to. In return, Eleanor negotiated space for herself, both literally and emotionally. Their private quarters in the White House were separate, their paths crossing mostly for official appearances or joint political interests. Eleanor found her liberation in causes, civil rights, women's equality, labor reform, and in relationships where she could express herself without restriction. Behind her soft demeanor was a woman unwilling to be confined by traditional marriage. But the silence came at a cost. Public appearances of unity masked private estrangement, and neither fully healed from the betrayals. Yet, strangely, the distance became their strength. The more emotionally separate they became, the more powerful they were as a duo, a president and first lady who mastered the art of appearing united while privately living separate, complex lives. In the years after Franklin's death, Eleanor stepped into a new identity, not as a widow, but as a global voice.